Evening had begun to fall over the apartment complex, spreading a soft amber haze that glowed across the cracked floors of the veranda. The air was heavy with the scent of dust and dew, a mixture that spoke of Delhi's late winter evenings. Not freezing, but cold enough for one to draw their shawl tighter. On her mat, Poochie lay curled, half asleep, her ears twitching to the distant hum of vehicles and the chirp of crickets. For weeks now, she had found comfort in this place. Her mat, her home, her small world framed by railings and shadows. Yet something inside her had begun to shift. She had started spending longer hours outside. Sometimes she disappeared just after dusk. Sometimes she came back late, her fur slightly ruffled, her eyes carrying the wild gleam of night. Mom had noticed it. Each evening, as she placed a small bowl of milk or bits of bread by the veranda, she'd smile softly and say, "Come back soon, Poochie." But Poochie didn't always listen. That night, the sky was unusually clear. A wide, dark stretch scattered with stars. The cold wind carried the faint echo of barking dogs and the rustle of leaves brushing against walls. Poochie stood at the edge of the veranda, her tail swaying lightly. Something beyond called to her. The scents, the sounds, the life that thrived in the shadows of the apartment block. She leapt down quietly and slipped between the parked vehicles, her paws making no sound on the damp ground. The night outside was a world of secrets. Poochie moved with practiced caution. Tail low, ears perked, she sniffed at a patch of grass, pawed lightly at a leaf, and then looked toward the parking lot. There, half hidden beneath the faint glow of the security lamp, was Kiddu's father, the big red tabby who often lingered nearby. His fur shimmered faintly in the light, his green eyes watchful. Poochie paused. She had seen him before, sometimes resting near Kiddu's old haunts, sometimes following her quietly from a distance. Tonight, he made a soft sound, a low rumble, neither hostile nor friendly. Poochie tilted her head, curious but cautious. Before she could decide what to do, another shape emerged from behind a car. The gray cat, lean and territorial, his fur bristling, eyes glinting with challenge. He had cornered her before, and he was not about to let the little brown stray forget her place. Poochie hissed, stepping back. Her tail puffed out. The gray cat took a step forward, and in that tense moment, the silence broke. A scuffle, a flash of claws, a sharp cry. From the veranda, Mom froze. She had been sitting by the door, half listening to the sounds of the night, when a cry, short, sharp, and unmistakably Poochie's, pierced through the stillness. The sound of her cat in distress was like a pull to her heart. Without a second thought, she threw on her slippers, grabbed the duster of doom, the same broom that had once saved Poochie from the nosy dog, Happy, and rushed outside. The parking lot was dim, shadows stretching long under the yellow streetlight. "Poochie," she called, her voice echoing against the walls. A movement caught her eye, a gray blur darting from under a car, hissing as it disappeared into the bushes. Then, under one of the parked vehicles, a small pair of eyes glowed, wide, frightened but familiar. "Poochie," Mom whispered, crouching down. "Come here, my girl." Poochie hesitated. Her body trembled, her fur puffed up like a bristle brush. The fight had been brief, but it had shaken her. She looked at Mom, the familiar scent, the familiar voice, and took one cautious step forward, then another. When Mom reached out her hand, Poochie pressed her head against it, a small, almost desperate motion. Mom scooped her up gently and held her close, whispering softly. Her body was still cold, but she was safe. Back on the veranda, Mom placed her carefully on the mat. The tiny brown cat circled twice, sniffing the air before curling into a small ball, her breathing still quick. Mom sat beside her, gently brushing her back with her fingers. "There, my brave girl," she murmured. "You're home now." Hours later, the house was quiet again. The night had deepened, and the city beyond the apartment had fallen into its restless sleep. Poochie was still on her mat, one paw stretched out, her tail curled over her nose. Her fur had smoothed down, but a faint tremor ran through her body now and then. The echo of fear fading slowly. Mom sat inside by the open door, wrapped in her shawl, watching her through the soft light that spilled across the floor. There was something heavy in her heart, a mix of pride and worry. Poochie was growing up. She was no longer the frightened kitten who hid behind the shoebox. She was learning to live in a world that didn't always welcome her kindly. Still, as Mom looked at her now, the soft rise and fall of her tiny chest, the faint flick of her ears, she couldn't help but smile. She knew that no matter how far Poochie wandered, she would always come back. Because for Poochie, this veranda was not just a resting place, it was home.